All right, welcome to our latest market update. What a week, huh? We saw some serious volatility, a big plunge, and then boom, a huge rebound. So let's get into it and figure out what this all means for your strategy moving forward. I mean, it really was a week of pure whiplash, right? The markets took a sharp dip, but then they came roaring back even faster. So you've got to ask, what caused all that panic in the first place? And maybe more importantly, what is this crazy recovery signal about where we're headed? Okay, so here's what we've got on deck. We're going to start with the big picture stuff, what kicked off all the fear. Then we'll look at how US stocks just shook everything off. After that, we'll dive into crypto's surprise presidential push. And you're not going to want to miss this. We'll talk about why silver could be the new gold. And of course, we'll wrap it all up with a clear strategy for your week. All right, let's start at the beginning. We need to unpack the two big things that really sent shockwaves through the markets last week. So it was really a 1-2 punch that hit the market. First, we had the Federal Reserve making some pretty tough comments, basically hinting that high interest rates aren't going anywhere soon. That definitely spooked some people. But, the real bombshell was the non-farm jobs report. This is a huge piece of data for measuring the economy's health, and it turned out to be, well, a complete mess. The data was seriously flawed, and that just threw a huge cloud of uncertainty over everything. And to give you an idea of just how bad this data error was, one source put it perfectly. They said it was like you booked a flight to sunny Miami and somehow ended up in Denver. Yeah. So we're not talking about a small rounding error here. This was a massive mix-up, and it made everyone start to question the very numbers they use to make decisions. Okay, so with all that chaos going on, you'd think the stock market would just tank, right? But that's not what happened. The US market did something pretty remarkable. It just shrugged it all off and staged this incredible comeback. So let's do a quick play-by-play of how that week went down. Wednesday, you had Powell's comments causing that first dip. Then, Thursday and Friday, that whole jobs data mess piled on even more pressure. But check this out. By Monday, the market had completely erased all those losses. Just gone. That shows some seriously incredible resilience. And this wasn't just, one corner of the market bouncing back. We're talking about the S&P 500, the tech-heavy Nasdaq, and the Dow Jones. They all came roaring back and are looking bullish again. So what's the big takeaway here? It's simple. That dip was just a shakeout, not a real breakdown. The underlying strength is still there. For now, the strategy seems to be stay the course. Okay, let's switch gears for a minute and talk about crypto. Because, wow, the crypto world got this huge and honestly pretty unexpected jolt of energy, and it came from the world of politics. So what happened? Well, the big catalyst was a statement from former President Trump. He signaled that crypto could maybe, just maybe, be used for retirement. Now, setting all the politics aside, when you get that kind of mainstream nod, that's a massive tailwind for crypto. It basically changed the entire mood overnight and sent interest and prices soaring. And the impact was immediate. I mean, right away. That little hint of mainstream adoption was enough to completely flip the technical charts for the big players. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, they all went from meh, neutral, to a solid buy signal. It's just a reflection of this powerful new wave of bullish momentum that's washed over the market. All right, next up, precious metals. And there's a really interesting story playing out here. We're seeing a clear split in how gold and its, let's call it more volatile cousin, silver, are performing. So the big difference right now comes down to one word: momentum. Gold has been on a fantastic run, no doubt, but it's kind of stalled out near its recent highs. So the strategy there is probably to hold off on new buys at these levels. But silver is a different story. It took a hit just like everything else, but it's rebounded with some serious strength and is back in a clear uptrend. For silver, the strategy has totally flipped to a confident buy. There's a reason they call silver the devil's metal. Its price swings can be absolutely wild and unpredictable, but that's also where the opportunity is. It's exactly that volatility that can lead to some huge gains if you time it right. And listen, this isn't just a gut feeling. There's a key metric that backs this up, the gold to silver ratio, and it started to drop. Now, in simple terms, All that means is that silver is getting stronger compared to gold. And historically, when you see this happen, it's a pretty strong signal that money is moving out of gold and into silver. That suggests silver is really getting ready to outperform. Okay, so let's pull all these different pieces together. Let's make sense of it all and boil it down to a clear, actionable strategy for the week ahead. All right, let's get straight to it. Here are the key takeaways. First, for US stocks, the trend is still strong. Think of any dips as temporary buying opportunities. Second, crypto. The bulls are running, and it's all thanks to that positive news. Third, precious metals. The smart money seems to be on silver over gold for growth potential. So what's the bottom line? The market basically ate the bad news for breakfast and is looking forward. It really feels like the big lesson this week is that the market can take a major punch and just get right back up. It seems like bad news just doesn't stick around for long these days, while the underlying momentum is what really matters. It makes you wonder, though, will this incredible resilience keep up? Or is the market's ability to just shake it off setting us all up for an even bigger surprise down the road? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining our channel today. We'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe and give this a like. It helps us a lot.